Geeky Poetic podcast.
What can go wrong?
Will go wrong.
Like trying to film in a parking lot. Welcome to Geeking Poetic podcast. We are in a car.
Freezing our fucking ass off.
It's so cold, man. Oh, we are back. Recently, we did another episode of our movie review segment we call Geek Previews. Anyway, we were here not that long ago doing the review for Terminator Dark Fate, and it was not this cold.
It was not.
And we decided we were going to do the review in the car so we could get our brand new, brand spanking new feelings on the movie and everything. And we said, let's do it again for the next movie. It was a bad idea.
It sure was.
Because it's so cold.
It's literally like 20 degrees outside.
It is
right
20
now.
degrees out, yeah. So, I'm Larry.
I'm Vito.
I'm Megan.
And we just got done seeing an incredible movie. And that
Fucking
movie...
fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And what movie was that, guys?
Doctor?
Sleep.
Yeah, Dr. Sleep, the long-awaited cinematic sequel of sorts to The Shining. Now, I say of sorts because I'm sure there's a bunch of you out there, you may be familiar with the story or at least know the book exists, but you may not have read the book. It is a sequel to The Shining in that it picks up many years later where Danny Torrance is now Dan Torrance. He still has the powers and everything, but he has fallen on hard times of sorts, and he is trying to constantly numb himself and bury that power within him and bury all the demons that come along with it. I think that's pretty safe to say, right?
Pretty safe
Yeah.
to say,
Yeah.
but he's also fighting with becoming his dad after he said he wasn't going to become his dad. So he's fighting
Exactly.
both sides of the demons.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ewan McGregor is fantastic in this film, man.
Ewan McGregor.
Holy shit.
Well,
I thought the whole fucking cast
Yeah.
was amazing. They
Whole cast was
sold
great.
it.
yeah.
The little girl, Abra,
little girl
she was
was so good.
amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Rose, I fucking hated Rose.
But she
can't-
was so...
He's like, I can't wait for that bitch
She was
to
so
die.
good in that role, though.
Yeah.
So
Holy
good.
shit, that
So
character is
good.
amazing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Rose the Hat. Fuck her and her fucking hat. She's the villain in this movie, Rose the Hat. There is another character named Abra, who is a young girl who shines, and she ends up reaching out to Dan Torrance, and they become friends of sorts. Dan almost kind of becomes her Tony. If any of you remember from the original Shining, how Danny had Tony, the little boy that lives inside my mouth, that whole deal. Dan sort of becomes that for her and everything. I mean, I don't want to give away too much because I know there's a lot of you that haven't read the book, but I want to bring up a few things that people should know going into this movie in case you have read the book, because I'm sure a bunch of you probably have read it, and then I'm sure there's a bunch of you that haven't read it, but you saw Stanley Kubrick's film The Shining, okay?
Which is me.
Right.
I've done both.
Right, Meg's done both. I've kind of done both. I sort of read the book. I read parts of it and everything. He's never read Dr. Sleep. Now, here's the thing you need to know. This is a sequel to the Shining movie and the Shining book. Now, the problem with that is there's some big differences between the Kubrick Shining movie and King's original book.
Which is why he had such a problem with it.
Right. So, the director, what was the director's name again?
Finnegan?
Yes, Finnegan. Finnegan, the director, he had a real task with this movie of figuring out a good way to do a sequel and be faithful to the Dr. Sleep book, but also be faithful to the people who were Kubrick Shining fans. And holy shit, he pulled it off.
Fucking did. I was amazed.
I mean,
It's incredible.
again, this is going to be a spoiler-free review because this movie literally just came out tonight.
Yeah.
It's spoiler-free, but there's differences from the book.
Yes.
Yeah. There's going to be some differences. So if you're one of those people that's like, I do not want it to be any different than your source material, you're going to have a bad time.
Especially the end.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to
don't give away too much.
I just said
It stays pretty faithful to the book. It does incorporate elements of the Kubrick story, but it stays pretty faithful to the King books till about 2/3 of the way through the movie, and then it takes some turns, and you're gonna be like, whoa, what? Okay, so Vito, let's just go around. You, somebody who didn't read the Dr. Sleep book, so this story's all brand new to you. What is your take on this movie overall?
This was one of the most intense and disturbing films I have seen in a long time. There was one scene, guys, where I was like, I don't know how much longer I can actually watch this scene. I might have to like leave.
I think I know which scene it is.
Number 19.
Was it in Iowa?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, what the fuck is
you went
this?
to the bathroom.
Yeah, I could
brutal.
hear it. I could hear it through. I was taking a piss, and I could hear what was going on. Seriously, you could leave this in. I had to go to the bathroom. I drank a big ass drink. All right, I had to take a piss, and I knew what was going to happen. You know, so it's not like I missed anything in terms of. But yeah, apparently the way they showed it, and from the flashback scenes, I could tell like, holy shit, that was
graphic. Brutal, man.
Intense. That kid did good too.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah.
I love the visuals in this movie. I thought the direction, the framing was excellent, man. The first scene out of the movie where the girl is talking to Rose, and they cut, and it's just Rose, and then again they cut, and then all of a sudden there's like more people there. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was
man?
kind of creepy.
It was creepy.
Cinematography and effects in this movie,
And sound design as well, man.
yes, are fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I was really, really taken aback by it. Like, there's a scene where one of the characters does like an astral projection, and they're trying to find another character. When you think about that, that could come off so cheesy.
Yeah.
The idea of somebody astral projecting themselves and flying, you know, and it could be so cheesy, but the way they did it, I was like, holy shit, that looks badass.
It was
like,
incredible, man.
it was so, yeah, everything they did, even the stuff in this that was like fantastical, was like, I didn't get taken. There was like one time.
There was some CG stuff at the very end.
There was one time with that kid. There was one time, I can't give it away, but there was one time where, especially if you know my humor, yeah, it's not so, but it's like a really sad part.
Funny.
It's a really sad little
not
part
funny
and
at all,
everything,
Larry.
but it made me fucking laugh. It was like,
Nothing in this movie is supposed to make you laugh.
no, they really shouldn't, but I couldn't help it. It's like I did that when I went and saw It Chapter 1. There was like scenes in there that I was like I was laughing at. I don't know. I do that, I guess. When things are scary and sad, it kind of makes me laugh sometimes. But anyway, Megan, so somebody who has read the book, like, what is your take on it?
I loved this version of it. I thought he did an excellent job combining all these different stories. Like you said, the original movie and the book and the miniseries, and kind of combined them all together and made one movie sequel for all of them. That took guts. A lot of guts. I think I did like this ending better. It was more in depth, I would say. The cycling that happens in it was more intense than what the book was.
Now, what do you explain to people? Cycling, you mean when they die, when people...
When the true knot passes.
The bad guys, yeah.
Passes. And there is more to their story of why they initially started cycling
In the book?
Yeah, they
I'm going to go out and buy
that.
the book tomorrow and read it, because I'll be honest with you guys, when I read the synopsis of the book, I thought it sounded fucking dumb.
No.
We got psychic energy vampires that are going around stealing energy. That doesn't sound interesting at all. And now after seeing the movie, I'm like, this is a fantastic idea. Like,
Right.
I should have read this damn book.
And
It's really good.
And it's so cool because it's a different kind of concept for, you know what I mean? It is a little bit different than what you're so used to seeing in these kind of movies anymore.
I was kind of upset that they didn't do they were diseased and how they got
Mm-hmm.
diseased through
Okay.
19. And Andy, Snakebite Andy, had more to her story as well.
Man, I love that
so
character
they made
so
her
much.
kind of one-dimensional, and in the book she's more thought out.
Okay.
Well, that's typical. I mean,
It
they
is
they
typical.
can't flesh out all those characters. I was
But it
kind of
didn't
surprised.
take-
I was kind of surprised they fleshed out Andy as much as they did.
Yeah, I mean, you get the idea that, men really fucked her over, and that's why
Right.
she did what she did.
Would they expand upon it more in the book?
They
and all?
expand way more
Okay.
upon it, and she has a whole love life and why she's so attached to Rose the Hat
Okay.
and stuff like that. So you kind of feel for her more,
Mm-hmm.
where Larry's like, fuck that bitch.
She was that character. I was like, fuck that bitch. But it was more, I don't know. I think it might have had more to do, not even so much with the character. Because I know what the character's about. I empathize, and I feel bad for the character. It was something about the actress herself. I was just like, ugh, I hate your fucking smushed in face.
Man, I loved
she
her,
was
dude.
cute.
Yeah,
Oh,
I thought she
really?
was like really attractive.
Really?
Yeah.
And I thought it looked like she pressed her face against a window when she was a kid, and then it just stayed that way. But
Yeah, I didn't get that at all. I got
Well-
almost like a Kate Beckinsale vibe from her a little bit.
From
okay.
Andy, from the blonde?
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were
No,
talking
you're
about
talking about
Rose.
Rose.
Oh yeah, no.
No.
Oh, you mean
talking-
Helena Bonham Carter? Is that what you're talking about? Right?
Blonde
Yeah.
version of it.
Yeah. No, Rose the
Okay.
Hat. Oh no, she's beautiful.
Okay.
I wanted to see her die, but I mean, I got that she was attractive. Yeah, no. Yeah, all those characters they fleshed out more in the book. I was okay with that.
And the whole storyline when had
With the
way more
grandmother.
to do with this.
Remember that the mom went to go see their
And
grandma.
she asked if she would be okay,
Oh,
this
okay.
time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, they have a run-in with Dr. Sleep. Like,
Mhm.
he helps her pass on, but she has the Shining as well.
Mm.
And that's why the parents and stuff was always like, give her a break, be easy on her, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. And the parents were like, but is always on her side. So.
I love that name. It's so funny.
Yeah. I'm like, no spoilers, and then Meg's like, so then when this person dies, and
Alright, so just cut it off.
yeah, you're gonna some of that stuff
All
out. But yeah,
Yeah.
fuck.
More. There's more in depth to
Fucking
God, you really liked the book. I know you liked the book.
I did really like the book, but I really liked the movie.
Okay.
I really liked this movie. It
Yeah.
was fucking amazing. It held my attention the whole time. And then when it started taking turns, then I really got more invested because I didn't know what was coming then. And that's when
Right.
it really started fucking with me too.
Yeah.
'Cause you guys had a good laugh at me when I screamed.
Oh, there was
There
this.
was a couple cheap
yeah.
jump scares. I'll give you that. I mean, that was like, all right.
There was
that's-
very few.
no,
Very
but
few.
there was two that was like, all right, that's fucking cheap, man. But
It
they were
worked.
effective.
It worked
It
because
worked.
Megan fucking shouted out loud in the fucking theater. It was hilarious. Took all my power not to fucking laugh.
You
like
were
out,
laughing.
out loud. I was stifling my laughing and shit, but
Not
my
very well.
oh, that was some funny shit. I'm at the point where every time we do these reviews, and I'm like, I love this movie, and then it bombs, like Terminator, fucking
Oh my
people.
god.
Ugh. I get so nervous now about saying this, but being completely honest, man, I loved this movie. I loved it. This is my kind of it's not a horror movie. I mean, it's
intense.
It's very intense.
Stuff that's in this movie that was creepy is the kind of shit that creeps me out. And this isn't giving away too much because people know it from, well, you're going to know it from the commercials and the trailers and from the original. A lot of those things that terrorized Danny and his family back in 1979, 1980, they make appearances in this in various ways. I won't say how. And if you thought they were creepy in the Kubrick film, they're fucking way more creepy.
Yeah,
in this
man.
movie.
They did a really, really good job with that stuff.
Yeah.
I like the actors that played the new versions of the old actors. I thought they did a really nice job.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is flashbacks to old characters and old times. They don't, whenever they do stuff that references the Kubrick film, they don't use any of the actual footage from that film. I'm sure they're not even allowed to, you know, knowing Kubrick especially.
Yeah.
I doubt he would have allowed that in his will. But they did a fucking phenomenal job in reenacting it. And I mean, even just like little details, like when Danny goes into the boiler room.
Yeah.
And I looked at that boiler room and I was like, oh my God, look at that boiler room. That's perfect. Yeah. That fridge. Like, it's so, like, and I just watched Shining not too long ago, so it's very clear in my mind. And I saw that and I'm like, damn, whoever did this, whoever built those sets, did all the set design and like, fucking kudos to you.
Good job.
You did
your homework.
Yeah, they did such a good job. I mean, I was really worried about how if seeing things reenacted, or redone or whatever, new and by different actors and different, like if it was going to take me out of it, because it's like, oh, it's not quite right. It didn't take me out of it, man. It was great. There's not a whole lot more we can say about it, really, but I think that if you're open to the idea of a sequel to The Shining, and if you're open to the fact that it's not going to be an exact, perfect carry-on from either the book or the movie, that it's this amalgamation of the two, that's really the only way you could do it to have it make sense. Because I don't know how else they could have had it make sense.
I don't know.
There were things that I was like, how are they going to do that? I mean, for example, and this isn't a spoiler because everybody basically knows, in the Shining book, the hotel blows up. It's gone. In the Shining movie, the Kubrick movie, the hotel does not blow up.
It just freezes, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, well, which way were they going to go with it then? Was it going to be blown up, or was it still going to be there? And if it wasn't blown up, how were they going to explain that? And there's different things, and they did it.
They nailed it.
They nailed it. They came up with pretty much, to me, the only way they could find like a happy medium and tie it all up and tie things together.
There's several things like that.
Yeah, and it's an emotional movie. That's the other thing, like for me, because I'm the big wuss or whatever, I found it very emotional. This movie deals with death and fear of death and what is waiting for us, if anything, on the other side. And, if there are ghosts and demons and, horrors of the past, like, why are they there? What does it mean? Is it all like that, or is there good to it too? Like, there was a couple points in this movie that I got like pretty touched by, like some of the dialogue and some of the stuff that says, and when he becomes Dr. Sleep and all that.
I hope there's more of that stuff in the book.
There is.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot more. Anyway, we can talk about this like forever and a day
We're
because
going into so much detail.
Yeah.
They keep cutting me off.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe we'll find an excuse to talk about this later. I mean, I love The Shining so much, the books and the movies, and then there's the miniseries thing that we really barely didn't even talk about when we did our Stephen King retrospective. Maybe at some point down the line,
we need more King.
Maybe we'll do like a Shining feature, something, kind of like we did for Predator or something like that. Like, we could totally do that and talk a little bit more in depth about all this stuff, especially once you've read Dr. Sleep and everything. But in the meantime, folks, look, I know how the attitudes are nowadays. People are so quick to read negative reviews and be influenced by it. People are so quick to be hesitant and negative towards sequels and things like that, especially when they revisit something years later. I really think this is worth a watch. The acting is good. It's a different story. It's not, if you're expecting Evil Dead or even It or something like that, it's not that kind of story. Don't go posting like, I wasn't even scared. It's not that kind of story, okay? There's more to this than that, you know? Think about it a little bit. I think that's all we can say, because we got to start this car. We are literally going to freeze to death. Because the next thing, exactly. Next thing is all of a sudden you're just going to hear that piano chord, and Meg's going to be sitting there like frozen with icicles like Jack Torrance, like...
I'm almost there.
Yeah, she's almost there. So before she freezes to death, Vito and I have much more padding on us and everything, so we'll last a little longer. So anyway, thanks for checking it out. We will be back very soon. If you want to hear us talk more about Stephen King stuff, we just got done putting out the retrospectives, talking about 90s through today. We talked a little bit about Dr. Sleep, but we didn't, you know...
Waiting for this.
Yeah, we were waiting for this, so this kind of caps it off. We're done with our Stephen King stuff for now. So we'll talk to you all soon. Peace out.
See ya.